Hi, I'm Dan Raywood, IT Security Guru, and today we're talking passwords. It's been a big week for passwords. Whether you put them in, whether you don't, whether you change them, whether you don't, whether you use your cloud service with a password that you also use for your online auction accounts. Hey, we've been talking about passwords for years and nothing's going to change, and no matter the headlines, people aren't going to change their ways. So what can we do to make passwords more easier to manage and easier to remember, of course? I decided to ask some industry experts, what do you do to make passwords more memorable and easier to manage? And Troy Gill, he's a senior security analyst at the company AppRiver. His advice were for longer passwords. Well, that's one idea. Also use random characters such as @messages and numbers and various things. Try and just mix them up. So if your password is going to be password, why not try this way of doing it with an @ and 5s? Okay, and a 0. Okay, not exactly the greatest password. And news this week revived the top 500 passwords. We've seen some great research done by various people about passwords following breaches, and in this instance, the top 500 passwords were tried against Apple's iCloud and are ultimately successful. One particular thing that Troy Gill suggested, and I think is a good idea, is trying to use a passphrase, use an actual term. So rather than use the word Beatles, why not say the Beatles were a great band from Liverpool? Is that a password you can use? It probably could, and also it's not that difficult to remember. If you want to make it really complicated, why not put in that format? I'm going to try and read that out because that's something that you've got to try and remember. I also talked to Rob Sobers. He works for a company called Varonis, and he said on his advice, why not consider using two-factor authentication or a password manager? There's plenty of those around. I use one myself, and I think they're actually a very good way of managing all your passwords. And you've got one secure password. You make a really, really secure password for that one, then manage all your others. The question you also want to ask yourself is how many accounts do you have, and how many passwords, or how many require a password? Well, if you don't use that account so much, what about that forum for New Kids on the Block? Are you still writing on that? Are you still trying to figure out, when Jordan and the others will actually come to your town? Well, why not close that account? Because if that's what your password is, and you're using that password as you are for maybe your webmail that you use every day now, then you might want to consider closing the account. Just a suggestion from me. One little tip that I want to offer is actually something that I do personally, and that is use a kind of a system for when you refresh your passwords. So let's pick Albums by the Beatles. We've already mentioned them once and they got some good exposure out of this video. And so your first password could be Rubber Soul, and then your next one could be Revolver, and it could be Sgt. Pepper. You get the theme that I'm working with here. The album releases, it helps you remember which one the last one was, and then you next 30-day cycle or 3-month cycle, depending on what your company is or in your personal choice of refreshing passwords is, that's the way you can do it. Troy Gill suggested change your passwords regularly. Everyone suggests change your passwords regularly. Change them. We've had instances this year like breaches at eBay. Obviously the Heartbleed issue, which tells you to change your passwords. Well, you've got to keep changing them, and obviously the problem I guess most people have is you change it, something absolutely brilliant, and then you've got to change it again, so you spend all that time mastering that great password, and then you don't get to use it anymore. So for example, you want to use something with numbers, you thought it was a brilliant idea to use 44con as your password. Oh no, I can't use that anymore. So now I have to use DEFCON or something like BrewCon or something ending with con. Hey, it's the con season. Then, well, that's a good idea to do that, but the problem is you've got to try and remember those passwords, and that's where password vaults come in. That's where two-factor authentication with a one-time password comes in. It can be much more secure. Whether it's user-friendly, that's up for you to decide. As I said, it's been a tough week for passwords, and it will continue to be a tough time. People have a memory capacity, and people will use the same passwords over and over again, no matter how much they're told to do things differently. Really, it's up to banks, I think, to government as well, to try and just educate people into why they should be changing their passwords, because scare tactics can work, but at the same time you've got to try and make sure people know why they're doing this and what the security benefits are. So for IT Security Guru, I'm Dan Raywood. Spelled like that.